This episode was beastly, just amazing. There has not been a single bad, mediocre episode ever since the season started, so it is an absolute joy to wake up every Saturday morning to watch this show. I'm like, yeah, give me more. We start off with a flashback that took place back in season 1. It's the flashback when they go out into the night near the lake and sort of like, have a friendly conversation about what it was like to actually experience the Titans, and I think that's kind of one of the things that makes Reiner and Bertoldo bond with Armin and Eren, is because they actually ask the question, so you actually know what it feels like to feel this threat of the Titans. And there's something very interesting that Reiner says when they're looking out into the lake. He asks Eren, oh, so your encounter with the Titans didn't break your will. I would actually suggest that you rewatch that sequence, that episode from season 1, just to refresh your memory, because it's really cool. And now it's like you have a whole different perspective on what they're saying. So Eren is kind of like saying, yeah, like I'm gonna beat them, I'm gonna kill all these Titans. And Reiner's like, oh, wow. It's kind of like he has like some sense of admiration when Eren says that. But then that kind of like brings up the question, so does that mean that Bertoldo and Reiner also wanted to defeat the Titans at a certain point instead of becoming them? Because it kind of seems like they still have this end goal that we don't know what it is. And it seems like the best way to actually get back to their hometown, or at least get what they want, is to do these things of, capturing the shifters and bring them back home. So maybe at one point, Reiner, Annie, and Bertolt actually did kind of believe in Eren and his determination to take down these Titans. Because actually, Eren makes a very good point in this episode. He says, your plan has been full of holes from the start. If you really wanted to succeed, why did you teach me how to fight? And granted, I don't think it's like they knew that Eren could turn into a Titan at that point, but it's still like, you're still teaching the resistance. You're still teaching the resistance some pretty cool moves. Eren snaps out of the flashback and just punches Reiner's face right into the wall. Both of them come toppling down. They fall. They leave these craters. It's actually kind of funny in the beginning. But then what's going on in the top of the wall is like some serious business, because the Colossal, and I forgot to mention this in the last week's episode review, but it doesn't seem like the Colossal was able to transform properly. In fact, I think the transformation was triggered because, and Mikasa thinks about this, like, crap, like, I should have just cut their heads off. So something stopped Mikasa from doing that. So, it's like, human empathy. It's like she didn't want to kill the people that, she grew to know. And so she triggered Bertolt's transformation. At least that's what I think she did. But because he was on top of the wall, it was incomplete. So the ribcage just kind of like grabs over the top of the wall, and he doesn't have any legs or ass or anything. So he's pretty much stuck there for the time being. Hanji gives the order, just swarm this bastard, let's go. So they start going at it like flies to a wedding cake. These people are flying all over this thing. The animation kicks in, absolutely phenomenal. Look at this shot. The music kicks in as well. Very, very good piece selection for that action sequence there. You see the Colossal kind of moving in slow motion, because again, he's so big, right, that you would obviously think that the squad has the advantage because they can move a lot faster. But unfortunately, he starts shooting out steam, so they have to pull back because that burns. And Armin makes the connection that last time, what happened when Eren was about to attack him was that it just disappeared. Now it seems like it can't, or it's just stuck there. So it just seems like it's stalling for time, just shooting out this steam so that people can't get close to him. So they kind of forget about him, and that's kind of like, at the end, that's kind of like a very big tactical error, that they just forget about this Colossal thing. And again, I think the reason for why the Colossal has to go into defense mode is because his transformation was kind of a half-assed thing. Like, it was a half-assed transformation. It was incomplete. So that being said, something very interesting happens that, well, Krista is yelling out for Ymir, the girlfriend, obviously, but Ymir's not the only person that the Colossal takes. He also takes somebody else, but we don't get to see who it is because they're upside down. You only see his legs, or her legs, I don't know. But I'm guessing that if, they're very interested in taking the shifters back, could it be possible that there was another shifter in the ranks? Or why is this person so valuable? Also, if the Colossal is coming down on Eren head first with his mouth wide open, wouldn't it make sense that Ymir and that other person come flying out of its mouth like vomit, like bleh? That was a pretty epic cliffhanger though. Just when you thought Eren had the upper hand, when he's about to rip Reiner's head off, this thing comes toppling down. And we know that Mikasa's gonna get injured trying to save him, so that really sucks. I also kind of find it unbelievable that Connie knows that Eren can transform into a Titan. He was literally there when Ymir transformed into a Titan. And he literally doesn't know that Reiner and Bertolt are the Titans that we're fighting right now. Like, Connie's kind of like the Neville Longbottom of this show. We go back to the Eren fight, and we know some time has been skipped because Eren is on his back already with a hole in his face. And then, he's thinking about Reiner as this big brother figure, how he admired him, how he really thought, well, he actually says, I always thought you were a stand-up guy. Or, in Naruto terms, Obito, you were the coolest guy. You get a little bit of a rewind moment there with Mikasa just using up her blades because she can't pierce the Titan's skin because it's so hard, hence the Armored Titan name. And to me, the solution was just very obvious. It's like, okay, if you can't pierce it with the blades, try and get a fragment of his skin so that you can use it to pierce its own skin. And I think something like that happens in the episode where Eren has him on a hold, and I think the Armored Titan, like his own knee, is just busting up its face. And I personally think that the technique-like aspect of this episode was actually its best part, because it just shows how much of a fight you can actually gain the upper hand in if you have the right mindset, if you're assessing things and thinking critically and logically about things. Because in the beginning, Eren was going rage mode, but he was getting dominated. Straight up trashed by the Armored Titan. These Armored Titan punches were coming in quick and hard, and if Eren had kept it that way, if it was just strength v strength, he would have taken the L, but he didn't. He came back and actually dominated the fight in the end because he cooled down and actually began to think. And thanks to Armin, he says, they're trying to capture you, come back to the wall, which at first glance, given the Armored Titan strength and the fact that it kind of seems like Eren would be retreating back to the wall, you would kind of get the wrong impression that Reiner and Bertolt have the upper hand, when the fact of the matter is that they don't, because like Eren said in the episode, you guys already revealed who you are. If anybody has the upper hand, it's us. We just have to be smart about this, and that's exactly what they do. So shout out to Eren. I thought the execution of that technical aspect of the fight was just done brilliantly. There's a flashback to the training days with Annie before Eren's comeback, and at first I actually thought, I got a little bit annoyed because it kind of felt like it was just sandwiched in there, but then I started getting turned on and so forth, and then we saw Reiner just flying through the air, landing like a sack of wheat, alright, because of his fight with Mikasa. Actually, now that I think about it, I think that sequence is probably the most ghetto thing to come out of this entire show. Because Mikasa, the real reason for why Mikasa was getting into Annie's face. It was because she's tired of Annie hanging around her man. So she's like, all right, show me the move. You got people huddling around them, just taking bets and stuff. And Annie has a pretty good comeback. She says, well, this move is usually for humans, but I've always wanted to see how it would work on a beast like you. And I guess it's actually heavily implied that it actually does work on her. And that's when Eren starts using those holds on Reiner. And it's just such a great comeback, It's just so, I guess, smart in the way that it's like, okay, you're stronger than I am, your punches are coming in, I'm going to dodge your hit, and then I'm going to use your weight against you, and I'm going to turn you on your ass. And, that's what he does. Just completely turns the fight around because of those holds, which, by the way, were something that he learned because of Annie, like in training. So it's kind of like, hey, Annie, even though you killed a lot of people, you're actually helping me out here. He actually busted Reiner's arm off and then just kept him down, throughout the ending of the episode. And then unfortunately, Reiner was pushing him towards, the bottom of where the Colossal Titan was so that he could fall on him. Mikasa was great support throughout all of this. Just being there for Eren, trying to do her best. And then she comes in with the knee slash. The animation just kind of follows her through as she performs these cuts. Just excellent, excellent quality in terms of planning out these shots. I want to give a couple of quick shout outs to Hanji. The first for making that weird fangirl slash hentai noise when Eren followed her instructions, or at least, agreed to follow the command. And the second one for making the observation that if the Armored Titan was really made out of armor, if his entire body was made out of stone or something, he wouldn't really be that fast. And that's really useful because when he starts running, we can see that the armor in his legs begins to shatter. So that obviously creates an opening, and I have to say that I really love that scene of him darting towards the wall because you see a couple of ducks fly by. Totally unnecessary, but it just adds more realism to the actual scene of these animals trying to get the hell out of the Titan's way. So I actually take that back, because if it actually adds more realism to the scene, then it's not totally unnecessary. Also, I was under the impression, thanks to episode 2, that the Armored Titan could, spit something out of his mouth, like acid or fire. I'm kind of curious why he didn't use that ability in this episode. Maybe it's because he either couldn't or he didn't want to. Maybe it's too broken, and if he were to use it, he would kill Eren, which, again, I don't think he wants to do. He just wants to capture him. So, yeah, that's something I remembered. That's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Overall, an excellent, excellent action episode of Attack on Titan. Last week's episode was a little bit more character focused, more character based. This week's was obviously more action based, but we did get some character moments within this fight, which obviously serves to make the fight that much more intriguing and that much more engaging. So I appreciated those moments here as well. Thank you for watching. Like the video if you did. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And comment down below with your thoughts about this episode, the fight. Thanks for everything, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.